experience. And I was really surprised. I'd heard that birthing could be pleasurable, but I didn't really believe it.
Yeah.
Because you see everything, I didn't really believe it, but it is. It can be. And even, so she was born before dawn, and I believe that's probably a key time when babies are generally born naturally, just before dawn, so you're still undercover.
It's so interesting, actually. Sorry to interrupt you, but I've just had, for my yoga course, I just had a lecture on meditation, and apparently 96 minutes before sunrise is like this magical time of day where everything's like slows down, is still.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it happens at night too, I think at twilight as well. There's that magic energy.
During that lecture. So Michelle isn't crazy after all.
Actually, in our culture, the in between that time is a great time for learning, because we're open to receiving. So it's a great time for learning new things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. What were you saying before?
No, that's okay. Yeah. So it was during that space, and I love that time of day. I'm not usually up very often that time of day, but I love that time of day in the morning, and I love it at night. That's the same kind of energy when things are shifting and changing and things are opening, and you can feel connected. So so she was born during that moment, and she was born asleep, which amazed me.
Yeah, wow.
That she was born still sleeping in the water, peaceful. And I actually said to my husband, she's not crying. Oh, actually, I didn't know it was a she. He actually said, it's a girl. Just looking at her, like her face, he knew.
Aww.
It's a girl. And I said to him, yeah, she's not crying. And he just said, she's sleeping.
Aww.
It was so beautiful.
That's a big reflection of how calm and beautiful the birth was.
Yeah. So once she came out of the water, we took our time. There was no pressure. There was no pressure. It was just a time to be amazed by the just the power of being a woman, creating life, of being a couple, creating life, of being part of God's creation. Amazing. So
that's the power of a woman. Men can't do it. They're part of it, but
and it connects you to your ancestors, all the women that have come before us. That's why we're here. We're connected by a thread to them, and all that strength we can tap into at any time, which is what I love too, and what I've learnt, that you can tap back into that experience of birthing, that amazing time at any time, which can help through lots of other things. So recently I had a bit of a sad time about a month ago, and I couldn't actually join you in the podcast, and I'll tell you the reason now why. I had fallen pregnant again, and I actually miscarried, and it didn't quite feel right. The pregnancy didn't quite feel right. I didn't have any morning sickness or any kind of signs or anything like that. Just didn't feel right. So I had, which was extremely disappointing and sad, of course. But what was amazing about that was having that natural birth actually helped me to go through that process without carrying it on, if that makes any sense. I to be able to accept that process, to be able to accept, go through that grief and go through that loss, but there just seemed to be a ripple effect that has come from this natural birth that I had not foreseen.
Spiritual strength.
And I'm amazed that a natural birth can have that power for us, that can actually heal our future grievances, or our future sorrow.
Well, I guess too, when you look at a mother, a woman that's had babies compared to a woman that hasn't, there is a certain energetic strength about her that's different to someone who hasn't had babies. And I guess we're not talking that something's better than the other. It's not positive or negative, but there's certainly some sort of spirituality and like you said, that oneness that comes with it. When you procreate and you bring that life into the world, there's a gift that comes with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree.
Can I ask what you did with the placenta?
Yeah, sure. So I was actually inspired by you, Michelle. I was inspired by you, and you sort of had educated me in what lotus birth was. And so it felt so right doing a lotus birth. Yeah, so we did a lotus birth. So for those who don't know what a lotus birth is, has it been on the podcast already about lotus births? I think it might have been touched on.
We've done one on lotus birth, and I think it always gets mentioned in the birth, because most of the women that are coming along, they're all lotus birthing now. So the wisdom's coming back to the women now. I'm not sure how we forgot about this beautiful process of birth, but it's lovely to see it's being reawakened. Yeah.
It's going back to our instincts, isn't it?
I think so.
Going back to trusting our instincts, not going with our head
Yeah.
or what we've been conditioned to believe,
Yeah.
but going with our hearts and our gut instinct.
Yeah. You're so spot on. Yeah.
Yeah, so the lotus birth was amazing. That was the process was just easy. There was no problem with it at all. We placed her. We didn't cut the placenta. For those who are listening now that might not know what a lotus birth is, we didn't cut the placenta at all. We kept the placenta free in a little container, like a steamer, like a dumpling steamer, and salted it, put some herbs on it, and kept that by her side with her, which was really great, because I got to just lie with her for those days. We got to just be together as a family, and we didn't have any outside interruptions. That was a really important part of the lotus birthing, I think, was keeping outside interruptions away.
Yes.
And just sat in our little cocoon, our little bliss bubble, and just enjoyed bonding and being together. It was just magic. And about day 4, it fell off, and I was kind of sad. It was kind of like, oh, it's finished. But by the same token, I was really, it was just beautiful that had happened. And I took her outside, and it was nighttime when it fell off. I took her outside and showed her the moon, and showed her the stars, and showed her, this is outside, And during the day, I took her outside and showed her, this is the day, and just that energy. So it was introducing her to the world slowly.
Yes.
Not
just cutting her off and putting her out there.
Yeah. Here you are.
Yeah.
Did you feel, I know myself, when I felt that sadness after Marley had lotus birth, I feel like that was my own trauma coming up from me not having a lotus birth personally.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it probably was like, oh, how sad I didn't get to experience this. Yeah.
So it's almost like we get to release our feelings on that as well, and we get to experience it through our kids. Did you feel more spiritually open during that lotus birth, and did you feel any type of energy around the placenta before and after? Do you remember any?
I felt like it was a spiritual time. It was we call it tapu. It's a tapu time, a sacred time, where where it was an important part of not ritual, I guess, ritual or rites of passage for a child to come from, to come from God to us. And it was their ritual to come into the world in a gentle way, and for us to start accepting that. Yeah, so I felt there was a special spiritual connection around that time, definitely. And afterwards, probably about a year or two later, so last Christmas, we actually took the placentas home, my son's placenta and my daughter's placenta, took them home to New Zealand, and we, in the Māori culture, we normally bury our placentas on our whenua, which is our tribal land. And that just gives them, so there is definitely a energy in the placenta, and that gives them a rock solid foundation for the rest of their life. They know that they belong in that place, and it just connects them to the land, connects them to their culture, and connects them to life, I guess, in general. But yeah, so we did that.
I've read in, I can't remember which culture it was, but they believe that when the soul leaves the body, that you reconnect with like basically the soul of your placenta, because that's very much part of who you are. You're not separate from that. That's, some cultures view the placenta as the sibling to the child. So you actually reconnect with that and take that with you as you evolve on your journey. And I think that's where that tradition comes from, that where the placenta is buried and placed, when it's in sacred ground, it's very much part of that soul's evolution, which makes me really sad too, because I don't know where my placenta went. And a lot of placentas just get thrown out as medical waste. And so what are we going, if this is true when we pass over, what are we going to take with us? That, we're just a bit of waste that came to this world? Like there's definitely a really deep imprint that we're waking up to, I think, again.
I think if it helps, I guess most of our waste does end up somewhere within the world, somewhere, wasting down. So hopefully it's somewhere. That's right. In the earth. Our culture has a similar belief when someone passes over. Different tribes are different, but in some tribes they believe that soul will touch every place that it's ever been, and will touch everything that it's ever before it passes through and heads off home. So it kind of relates to that.
Very interesting. I was actually having a conversation with my daughter recently, who's been very interested in birth and asking lots of questions, and she told me that when her umbilical cord was cut, it hurt.
I've read that, and people that have had rebirth experiences.
I was pretty interested in that, because I mean, I
did a side did it hurt when like that?
I believe that we do remember our birth experience, but I think can be, I guess, difficult sometimes to access that memory. And
well, I don't think it's stored on a conscious level, because when a child is born, it's more they haven't experienced the world yet. Even if we, I believe in reincarnation. I believe we've been here before and things like that, and we do have that soul memory. But really, when we come down, we don't know what a doctor is. We don't know how to put things into words. So that memory that we have is just, it's almost like stored in dream time somewhere in our body.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I agree. I think it becomes part of our DNA. Yes. And I think it goes further than that. I think we store our mother's experience of that birth. And our grandmothers, because we're actually eggs within our mother, within the grandmother. So we experience all of that generation, and they experience it too from theirs. So it passes from one egg to the next egg to the next egg, all the way down to us. And it's within our DNA.
So when we're having these beautiful healing births, we're actually changing our ancestral bloodline in our own family for the future. And I think when we heal ourselves, we're not just healing ourselves, we're healing past, present, future, because we're healing those that have come before us, because part of who they are is in us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very powerful. I'm interested to delve a little bit more into this spiritual, energetic sort of aspect of birth and compared to Caesarean. And you mentioned before, Michelle, that when you're having a vaginal birth, it's like you're opening up your chakras, whereas when you have a C-section, you just cut open. So I'm just curious, what sort of impact does that have on you energetically, I guess, and spiritually?
Well, I remember doing a chakra healing on a woman. This is probably going back 2 years ago, and she came to me for a healing because she wasn't dealing with a breakup and things like that. And what came through, and I knew nothing about her. I knew she had a daughter, but I knew nothing about her birth and things like that. And through that process, I actually felt there was this huge block in her sacral and base chakra, and I actually picked